Okay, I'm here with Brian Clarke, an NCF collaborator based at Emmanuel College at the Toronto School of Theology at the University of Toronto. So, Brian, the new Canadian census data has just been released. It's the first time in 10 years we're getting a really detailed look at the state of religion in Canada. What's jumping out at you so far when you're looking at this data?
Yeah, two trends I think really jump out. First is the growth of world religions other than Christianity. So Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and those religions are up substantially. In the last survey, the National Household Survey that was done in 2011, world religions other than Christianity clocked in around 8%. And now, according to the latest results, it's just nudging up to 12%. So that's really phenomenal growth. I mean, that's almost growth by half, right? In 10 years. And what's notable about that is, the Canadian population grew just over 10% in the same interval. So this is a very, very strong trend. And as the StatsCan release noted, I mean, this is largely driven by immigration. New arrivals to Canada, big surprise there, many of them do belong to global religions other than Christianity. The other main trend that we're seeing, and it's very, very strong, is the growth in no religion. And what's surprising about this to me is the breadth nationally that we're seeing. So from coast to coast, I mean, every region is seeing an increase in no religion. In the last survey 10 years ago, it was clocking in just under a quarter, 23.6, something like that. And now it's well over a third. I mean, 34.6. I mean, that's a significant chunk of the population. When asked, what's your religion? Well, actually, I don't have one. Now, buried within this are people who will say, well, actually, I'm an atheist or I'm agnostic. But those numbers are actually very, very small. I mean, when you look at this, over one third of the population saying no religion, that's actually what they're saying. I don't have one. At least when it comes to the survey. And what's interesting about this trend is that, I mean, it's been growing consistently at very strong rates. So in the last decade, I mean, this group grew about just close to 45%. I mean, it's almost by half, right? I mean, it's almost as strong as your global religions trend. Now, we haven't been able to dig under the hood here, so to speak, when it comes to what's driving no religion, because we don't have the cross-hatching that you like to do by age group or by gender or by ethnic origin at this point. But if the past is any indication of what's going on with this trend in the past 10 years, historically, this trend has been driven by Canadians of European descent, in other words, white Canadians. And it's very likely that this trend is being driven in the past decade by white Canadians, but we'll have to wait and see with the more detailed breakouts from StatsCan.
Another thing I've heard is that a lot of these losses are coming from Christian denominations. But on the other hand, it seems that the number of generic Christians is actually on the rise. So can you talk a little bit about that?
At the moment, it's a little bit, it is going up. It's in the latest release, though, it's hard to know exactly what's going on. And I don't want to get into too many technical details, but in previous releases, StatsCan use two categories: Christians not indicated elsewhere and Protestant not otherwise specified. In the latest release, we just have Christian, and so I don't really know what's embedded in that. I mean, are Protestants not otherwise specified also included in this figure? Don't have the breakout. But yeah, whatever the technical aspects of this is also a growing trend, right? People are being asked, what's your religion? Well, I guess I'm a Christian. It's, for some people, they are making a theological affirmation. by not specifying a specific denomination. But Stuart McDonald and I have argued in our book that Leaving Christianity, that this trend is largely an indication of disaffiliation. And if this has continued in the past decade, yeah, I forget what the figure is, but 6-7 million Canadians say, well, when you're asked what their religion is, oh, I'm a Christian. Well, yeah, that's probably an indication of soft affiliation at best in many cases.
Thanks so much, Brian. It's been really interesting hearing your takeaways on this data.
You're most welcome.